Hello, how is everybody? Are you ready to make some pretty earrings? I am trying to get all my screens here properly in place. I just wish, as I said before, I just wish that Google Hangouts wouldn't mirror my image, and I cannot find anywhere to fix that issue. I hope that you can see me, because I can see myself, but screen, oh, now it says watching. Before it was saying waiting. Hi, Lawrence. How is everybody? I don't know. I don't trust anything anymore. I mean, I've seen so many glitches. It's ridiculous. Merci, Cécile. Merci beaucoup. I forgot the translucent. Goodness. Okay. Oh, Tina, I consider it my second birthday. Hi, Tina. Hi, Deborah. Because on the 19th, I celebrated 8 years of surviving cancer. And normally, I would have had the celebration party with my closest friends today. But because we are supposed to have some really bad weather, I didn't want to have them either have to leave early because of the bad weather or have them drive in tornadic storms, you know. So I switched the live from tomorrow to today, and then I will celebrate with them tomorrow. So thank you, everybody. Now, why I said translucent is just plain for mostly for the red, because you know that the red is a horrible strong. Thank you, Dorothy, and hi. It's a very, very strong pigment, and if you don't soften it a little bit, it can pretty much take over and stain everything. I see that it's the noon tornado sirens exercise. Hopefully we won't hear them. They say that the tornado threat is fairly low, but the highest threat we have is winds and hail, and they were talking about tennis ball size hail. I'm not happy about that. And I'm also worried about how it's going to stress the cats. I mean, Connor's already stressed, but he ate even more, so I am really happy about that. Because in case you don't follow my Facebook page now, okay, Whisper was sick last week, and I went to the vet with him, and apparently he has Cushing's disease. I won't know until I get a specific amount of money that's supposed to come to me, was supposed to come to me this past week, but won't come to me until November, and hopefully they will come in November. And then Connor started sneezing, but I didn't really worry too much because he sneezes because of allergies. But then he didn't stop sneezing, and then yesterday afternoon he started being kind of lethargic, and all night he spent the night on the love seat, and that's really not his normal behavior. Normally at night he just runs all over the house. He ate a little bit this morning and then he ate some later, but he still doesn't feel good. He doesn't feel feverish, and he's got a runny nose, and his eyes seem to be a little bit teary, but it's all clear. I mean, it's no green or yellow colored or anything. But I'm still very worried because at this point it sounds like an upper respiratory infection. So I sure hope it's not that, because of course it always has to happen over the weekend. And after being whispered to the vet, I'm really not in the best financial situation right now. But I just keep watching him. He drank water. I said that if he doesn't, I don't know what I'm going to do. I will have to take him to the vet if he looks like he's getting worse. I'm just hoping that, he has never been sick ever. So I hope that his good, healthy little body will make him get past this. He seemed, as I said, he seemed to be a little bit better about an hour ago. So I don't know. Look what I was doing. I was putting red in my white and translucent pasta machine. So as I said, the idea is to have the regular colors, white, black, yellow, red, and green. And if you want, you can add more colors. You can add an orange. You can add an alizarin crimson, because we are going to make some fall leaves that will be mokumegane based. So we are going to make a little bit of skinner blends, of course. I should have gotten more yellow. And then play with the mokumegane on those skinner blends to get pretty patterns. Yeah, I don't know. He didn't really show. I mean, whenever the season changes, he might sneeze a little bit, but not a lot, and then that's it. But now he sneezed for 2 days in a row, and then yesterday, as I said, started being really. And the thing is with the cat, when the cat stops eating, that's not good, and stops playing. And the fact that I had to cajole him to eat, I had to sit there with him and pet him and love on him to convince him to eat. Because essentially, with the cats, it's not just when they feel bad, but when their nose is stuffy, if they cannot smell their food, they will not eat it. So, yeah, I guess all it is, just wait and see how things are going to progress. So, I am going to, number one, do a skinner blend with red and yellow, obviously. That's a given. Then I am going to do a skinner blend with red and green. And actually, let me get a little bit of here. And a little bit of. Yeah, you should be worried. That doesn't sound like it's okay. Okay, so I'm going to do red and green, red and yellow. And then I'm going to do a very interesting combination here. That won't be for a long or a lot of it, just a little bit of it. And that is, watch this. What do you think of this combination? And then we are going to do a little bit of yellow and white. Now, if you have other colors, you can place them right in the in-between here. Like an orange, you can place it right here and right here to give more depth to the gradient of the Skinner blend. And yes, 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 I know my Skinner blends are all wonky and weird. I don't do them by the rules, but and that's, I don't advise you. So if you're used to doing the lines and the diagonals, go ahead and do that. And I don't advise you to do like me, because you have to think that I'm essentially a painter, so I kind of have this sense of color, and I've been doing this for so many decades. So let's see if I'm going to have to change anything. So anybody in any area of the world that has any kind of issues that we need to keep our fingers crossed for you? Ah oui, Cécile, tu disais que tu as des problèmes avec ton internet. Oh, and by the way, let me say in French, je vais faire des dégradés dans toutes ces couleurs et on va faire des feuilles d'automne en utilisant le mokumegane et les dégradés pour obtenir des effets d'automne dans le mokumegane. Okay, now I'm going to show you changing the, see how this looks like? It's very autumnish, and I'm going to actually change the whole gradient thing. I'm going first to insert a yellow here, and then this much red here. And now watch the magic. Yes, yes, they do work well. But the thing is that if you're not aware of what, knowing of what you're doing, and you try to do it my way, you're gonna cuss at me for you might get some unexpected results, you know. Don't blame me. Remember, I said do it the way you're used to. Yeah, and another thing that I wanted to tell you in a while, I know that I show in my Skinner blend tutorials when your Skinner blend gets too wide, how to push it back together and make it narrow. But there's also another thing. When your Skinner blend gets as wide as the pasta machine, just don't bother with it. Keep going, because it cannot go wider, right? Just keep going until you get your gradient, and once you do get your gradient, then worry if you need to get it narrower. But as a general idea, if you need to do a jelly roll anyway, you don't have to really worry about getting it narrower, right? And you'll get the mixes no matter what. Of course, if you need them to be narrower, then yes, you can worry about that. But if you don't, and if you're going to do a jelly roll or a fan fold. Hey, Teresa. Hi, Soile. Do I pronounce your name right? Hi, Carrie. You're in a hurry for Halloween, aren't you? We still got a little bit to go. Okay, almost there. Okay, if anybody didn't see my Skinner blend tutorial on how to make this narrower, this is how you do. You first do it in a little sausage, and then you just start pushing it in. Don't go too fast, too much at a time, because you're going to destroy the gradient that you already got. So just go a little bit at a time. By the way, this is my favorite way of getting plugs instead of fan fold, because I think that the gradient is much smoother this way. So once you got it at the width that you want, then use your roller to get it a little bit flatter so it can go through the pasta machine, and then you can start doing your gradient again. But I'm not going to go more with it, because I want this one to plug it. Okay, that's good. I'm glad I can. I have a lot of issues with my name a lot of times, so I know how bad it is. I swear, it's like our parents never thought when they named us. Oh. Okay, so I am going to mirror this with the green in the middle. I hope you enjoyed the Skinner blend canes tutorial. As I did that, I will show you later when I go put stuff in the oven. I'll bring stuff back to show you what I was actually doing and why I thought of doing that tutorial. Okay, now let's get the next one that's more complicated. I've been busy all morning long finishing some pieces, and I've put more in the store, and I'm going to put more in the store. I also need to put some more stuff in the image gallery. And then this afternoon I'm going to do, so be prepared, because I'm going to post a destash. So if you want any of the many things that fill my house, keep your eyes peeled, because they are going to be posted out there. I was going to do a destash anyway, but then I thought, you know what, just in case I might need to go to the vet, why don't I post it now? You know. Okay, this is the second one, and you see that I didn't make it very gradial. So I'm going to mirror this one as well. So first I turn it into a plug. Coucou Sylvie, comment ça va? But yeah, and I will have hopefully next week some surprises for some of you. Depending on how I feel tomorrow after my friends leave, and depends on also how Connor's health issues go. I started working on the part 5B of the Mokumegane, and it's actually divided in two. One is with using translucent with metal leaf and colored clay. Yeah, I know. I hope so too. And then the second one will be about using translucent to obtain not just 3D effects, but also water effects. I'm sure you will love that. And of course, after that will be a piece made with that effect. I still didn't manage to recover the file from the first, from the piece with the Kumegane part 5A with the Barbara Maguire effect. I'm still working on that. See? I don't have pin stuff. I have only barrette stuff. I should probably start looking for some. Now remember, if the gradient doesn't want to gradiate, you just do it a little bit. Instead of putting it straight, you put it a little bit crooked. And then you force it to gradiate. That's why I usually don't bother with doing all those triangle cuts. I just put them one near the other, and then once I get them going through the pasta machine, see, I just, because they would go line-like, and I just go and do like this, and that takes place of the diagonal cut, pretty much. unless I want to obtain a specific range of colors. If I only want to use a regular Skinner blend, that's what I do. Okay, this has too much red and we'll need more yellow. Oui, est-ce que tu peux, Cécile? Merci. J'ai pas dit rien d'important. J'ai dit que d'habitude, je fais le dégradé sans faire les coupes diagonales parce que je fais ce pliage en diagonale qui est exactement comme la coupe en diagonale. Okay, now I got this and I'm going to plug this one as well. So we are going to deal with a lot of plugs. I don't know why this is so. Oh, my magnets ran all the way on the. My blades holder seemed to be a little wobbly, and I didn't know why. And now I saw I probably pulled because I have my desk is metal, and I have magnets on the bottom of this, so it holds the whole thing so it wouldn't topple, and I didn't know why it was so wobbly because probably one time when I pulled one of the blades out, I disturbed the magnets and they were on the side. And you know why I'm mirroring all of them, right? Because I'm going to make a stack that's going to be pretty much the size of a leaf. And because of that, I need it to be pretty symmetrical. No, I just plug them because otherwise I would have to do a fan fold, and I personally think that plugging them like this makes the gradient be more subtle, while when you do the fan fold, you have all those lines that show. But when you do a plug, you don't have, see, look here, you don't have all those lines that you normally have in a fan fold. Unless I am looking on purpose for those lines, then I will do a fan fold. But if I don't, then I do a plug. Okay, now I'm going to plug these with the red in the middle. And now the last one, the yellow and white. That's going to be the smallest. And I'm actually going to plug some translucent in this. Translucent always softens the intensity of a color. The same as gray usually would soften the intensity of a color. And you know how normally when you create something, you don't want to have all your colors at the same intensity. But when we are dealing with nature, everything goes out the window. Pretty much, because think about all the colors that you have in the fall foliage. Everything is at maximum intensity of color, and it still looks pretty. Or like normally when we create or paint or anything, if we use two complementary colors, you never want to use them at the same intensity. You want one to be stronger and one more subdued. But that does not work with nature, because think about this. Think about a red rose. The flower, the red of the flower is fully intense. The green of the leaves are fully intense, and it still looks absolutely gorgeous. So any color theory goes out the window whenever you're trying to replicate nature in any way. No, moins intense, Cécile. So the translucent reduces the intensity of the color. And this one, I'm going to use it very sparingly. And just because I want to have a little bit of underlining of the central vein of the leaf. And I'm going to mirror it with the white in the middle. After which we are going to start building our stack. Okay, now the biggest stack is this one. Let me work this plug a little bit so we have the same on all of them, because you want them to be fairly equal. That's cool. If you already got them, it's really neat. Oui, elles sont très jolies. Okay, now some of this stack will be the main color and some of it will be accents. That is, some of it I will go through the pasta machine with it on the thickest setting, and some of these I will go through the pasta machine on the thinnest setting. This is a main color, this is a main color, this is an accent color, this is an accent color. So these will go on the thickest setting, these will go on the thinnest setting. So let me start on them and change the setting on my machine because I was doing the Skinner blends on the thinnest. So this is one. I'm going to go with it one more time because it's not, I need it a little wider. And this is two. And now changing the setting. This is one. C'est peut-être quelque chose avec le soleil. Parce que tu sais que lorsqu'on a une tempête solaire, on aura des problèmes avec les transmissions partout dans le monde. Okay, so these are fairly equal. So I am going to cut them in two on the, like this. And then I would cut some pieces from these at about the same dimensions. Okay, this is. Okay, and now I am going to, remember when you're building a mokumegane, you have to think which layer will go through which. So if I want to build a vein-like thing here, I will need this to be pretty much enhanced. So I'm going to use this, then I'm going to use this, then I'm going to use this, and repeat. And there we go. And now because I have all these ends here, I'm going to cut them and not throw them away anywhere. But I will keep doing this. And remember, whenever you do your stack like this, you're supposed to turn it around so you don't have only the stuff on one side get wider. So you can get it pretty much equal all over the place. And I'm going to do it a little bit narrower. So one stack. Remember, we never want to go too many times, but you see they are still fairly thick, so we can keep going. Now let's see how thin it is. I want to get this one. It's not good. This one is not good. And then cut it in half and stack. Now let's see. I think I want one more stacking. Yeah, because if the layers become too thin, you'll get too much mixing. Even if in this case I'm going to go thinner than I normally do, because I do want a little bit of interference between the colors. I want them to blend a little bit. That's why some of them I got them much thinner than the others when I stacked. Okay, so I will do one more stacking and aligning. Now with this, remember what I do with the ends that I cut. I will just get them in the pasta machine and use them as a buffer layer on the bottom. Oops, okay. Okay, now I can start. I want it to be fairly narrow because the leaf will go like this, obviously. But we'll be able to make a lot of leaves out of this stack. Now let me check the thickness of the layers. And we should be just fine. Alrighty, now, what is the first thing that we see on the autumn leaves? We see a lot of, what you call it, spots. So let's do some spots. And we are going to do spots with holes poked really one near the other. You see how I'm poking them right one near the other. Then what I'm going to want is a little bit of bleeding of color. So in order to achieve some bleeding of color, I'm going to push. Okay, maybe not with my finger because I have fingernails. And now I'm going to bring it back and do the same, a little bit on the back. And then bring it back and use the roller. Then, a very important thing that we need to do is the veins. So I'm going to get the back of my rigid blade and I'm going to pretty much cut this thing in half, but maybe I need a, hold on, I need something that's thicker than the blade. So I'm going to use this. You can use the debit/credit card or something similar. And now I am going to bring it back again. And now let's do the other veins. Now on the other veins I am going to use my rigid blade, and I might even use the other blade. So you see what I'm doing? Make sure you don't cut yourselves when you press down. Don't put the finger on top of the blade. And get it back. Now let's do a few more. Oh, what can I use for this? I'm going to use this. I have some very thin blade here that I'm going to use like this for more veining. See, smaller veins that go from the big vein. And now again I press it back together, but this time I'm going to actually press it like this. It's going to act pretty much like a cane. So press the tops towards the, press them down, and then the middle start narrowing it. Don't bring the ends to come together, just keep narrowing it until you get it pointy. And now we can reduce the whole thing. As I said, we are going to make a lot of earrings from this, but as usual I had to do pretty big so you can see what I'm doing. I normally do it much smaller, on a much smaller scale. And then once you do it, you can come on top of it with the chalk pastels and refine the whole look. Okay, now let's see what we got here. On this one, you can, don't shave on this one. You need to slice it. So it's up to you how to feel, you feel more comfortable slicing. Of course, it would be ideal to be able to leave it rest a little bit, but I am going to give it a shot like this. Now remember, whenever you have something that's more teardropped, you want to lay it like this when you slice, and then go like this. And now the magic of mokumegane is happening. And there you go. And that's one slice. I need to get the camera to focus properly. Hold on. Give me just a minute. I can get some more color in here. Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay, let's do another slice, right? To see how pretty it comes up. I'm going to try and slice like this. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to, but I'm going to give it a shot. Make sure that it's all nice and stuck there, especially because I have a new blade. No, better not. I don't pull properly. And I didn't cut right. But anyway, there you go. It's a leaf with the colors of fall. But I'm not cutting straight through it, and that's why I don't get the proper coloring, because they should be pretty much symmetrical. Okay, I really need to let it rest. Let me see if I can make one earring out of all of this. And if I can do this, okay, so it's approximately. And now what you can do is when you cut, do the, follow the little things in here, and you can cut the serrations. Of the leaf. Okay, you can go on this one, you can go even with thinner yeah, I really know I cannot cut. I need some proper slices, and I cannot cut proper slices. Let me go get this in the freezer. Okay, I'll be right back. I need to put this in the freezer. Okay, I went and did. Do you like this? I finally managed to finish it. It only needed I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but under the silk screen, there's mica shift. And the mica shift continues on the pattern continues uninterrupted from one color to the other. Let me try and see if I can get it to focus properly so you can see that. It's very hard because I don't have proper lighting here. But c'est dommage, Cécile. See, you can see here at the end how the pattern continues from one color uninterrupted to the other one. And this is just a plain scalpy silk screen. Okay, I think that these would make great beads, I think, because I don't want to throw them away. So let's make some beads. While we are waiting for a few minutes for that thing too. And now the idea is that once you manage to cut a proper slice, and I would honestly go smaller, as I said. Once you manage to cut proper slices, they need to be about 1.5 millimeters thick. Then you go and there's tiny Pandora says you start scanning them. So that means you sculpt them a little bit. I mean, you just get your sculpting tool, whatever you use, the needle or whatever, and then you press a little bit on the veining part to enhance it. And then you gently do it like this when you bake it, so it would look like a leaf, you know. But for now, let's do some beads. Yeah, I went and looked at Connor. He's sleeping on the cat tree. These look a little bit like peacock feathers. Okay, I'm going to get it back into the... Okay, now this is a pretty bead. And I'm going to do another thing. Watch what I'm doing, because I know that somebody needed help with this, if I remember right. Okay, I'm going to grab a thin line of this. Two thin lines of this. And a thin line of white. And of course it helps when you cut with the cutting part. Now watch the magic. Okay, so I'm getting this. Not bigger. Let's make it a little bigger. Going to get this, and then I'm going to make it in a bead. And then I'm going to place some of these shaving things on it. Going to make an amazing swirly bead. And another piece here. And another piece to cover here and here. So I got this going. Now, see how thin I cut this piece? I am going to put it all around it. Then I'm going to take the white and I'm going to place it along the black, all around it. And then I'm going to take the second black and I'm going to place it all around it. And then I'm going to clean the area. Ah, c'est une surprise. Yes, I was thinking of you, Tina. That's what I'm doing here. Okay, so I got this. I'm going to do like this so I can get the lines well in there. And then I'm holding like this. And I'm going to make a swirly bead. Can you imagine how it's going to be with all these colors? I have the tendency to walk them towards the left for some reason. Sorry, my hand is getting tired. So, Tina, the idea is, see, I'm holding like this. And when I'm holding like this, the bead will be here. And the table will be here. And I am supporting my hand on my fingernails. I am not focusing on this part of my hand. I'm only focusing on tracing circles with my fingernails. The bead and the acrylic block that just happen to be there. Okay, you just find your perfect height. Oops, sorry. You find your perfect height and you just start twirling. I told you, I don't know why I move them to the left, but it always happens. It must have to do something to do with my hands. But there you go. And then the wider you do the circles, the more pointy it will be. The lower, the less you do the circles, the less pointy it will be. So look, I'm going to change it into a very pointy one. See? Just by changing the And see, this one got a little bit asymmetrical, Teresa, see? Is just how wide the circle you do. Again, the wider the circle, the pointier it will be. The smaller the circle, the flatter it will be. You want to keep it, while you're doing the circles, you want to keep it at a medium circle so that you can do the swirl. You're not focused so much on the pointiness as you are on the swirl. So this is pretty much. And again, if you want to make it flatter, you start it again, but this time you go on smaller circles and just focus on making the circle. You don't have to support yourself on all fingers. As long as you support yourself on one finger to draw the circle with it, you're good. So see, I went on a smaller circle and now it's flatter. But then I have to redo the twirliness. Generally, the smaller the circle, the more it will twirl, it will swirl. When you're doing the larger circles, the bead seems to focus more on the shape of the bead and not so much on dragging the clay on the surface. See, now it's twirled again. But it's not, it's very hard to see unless you go fairly close, and it's such a beautiful earthy color combination. I'd actually put this one like this, not through the middle. Okay, let's go see if that one got cool enough. It's 1:15. I don't want to keep you too long. And I also need to go outside and see if everything is secured, because we are expecting 60 miles, 70 miles per hour winds. But yeah, this size, I would rather use them as beads for a leaf necklace. And I checked on Connor and kind of lifted his head and didn't sneeze. So that, I hope it's a good sign. Okay, now let's try and cut this again. I hope to be able to. No, it's almost frozen. It's very hard. There we go. Ow. There we go. I got 2 good slices. So you'd get them pretty much like this as earrings. So once you get your slices right, of course, try and even them out a little bit. If you cut them messed up like I did. Because you can, I'm sorry, but you can imagine if we are expecting bad weather, my hands are bothering me. So, which side would I want on the front? I think that this one would look perfect. So now that I got this going, as I said, get your sculpting tool. And I usually use this. And I recommend to everybody to get a set of these. They are not very expensive and they are wax sculpting tools. And then you start pretty much sculpting the veins. Because then you give even more 3D to the whole thing. And go straight between these where your blade has been. Sorry, I cannot see the chat because I got my glasses off. So once you're done with this, then do the serrations. So just go in between and cut little V's out of the leaf. And do the same on both sides. Okay, I did a boo-boo here. And now that you got this going, all you have to do is to practically arrange it. If you have worries that it's going to get flattened up in the oven, what you do, you take a paper towel. Je suis sûre que c'était pas seul, mais il ne parle pas. So you make this in a fan like, and then you place it pretty much in the fan like this, but make it a little bit oblique so it will keep a little bit of, you can put other stuff under it, but I told you I have a little casserole dish, so I just cram it so it will keep the shape that I want it to keep. And this is how you make a mokumegane faux leaves earrings. I hope you like it. Well, see, I normally do it like this. Let me show you the full process. If you want to reinforce it, just put together a doubled up aluminum foil, and then on top of it put the paper towel. But see, in my oven, as I said, I have that little casserole dish. So when I put it in, it's going to keep it like this. It doesn't let it flatten up or do anything. It has to sit like this because it's the edges of the casserole dish. You know, so, but if you usually I have two kinds of aluminum foil in the house. I have the cheaper one from the dollar store that I use to wrap, like whenever I need to wrap a dowel, for example. Because if you have the thicker one, it's going to be much harder to make it conform to the shape. But if you use the crapola one, the one that's very thin, you can make it go around the shape without too many wrinkles. But then when I need something like this, I prefer the thicker one. Or like when I use, because I showed you before in other tutorials how I make like a little sleigh. Let's say that I have something on, I have that little vase. I'm not going to go get it. But I have that little vase that I put stuff on to bake. Like, let's say that this would be the vase, and this would be a medallion, right? And I just put it on the base, and it doesn't stick on this because it's not supposed to stick on this. Anyway, so I put it on the vase. Now the vase is way too tall to be able to be placed like this in the oven. And if I put it like this, there's the danger, because obviously it's not full like this. There's the danger that it might start rolling and messing up my thing. And also I cannot fill it with anything because it's a vase and it's kind of like heart shaped. So what I do, I take that very thick aluminum foil and I double or triple it folded, and then I do this. I fold the edges and I make like a little sleigh, and I place the vase in it, or a jar or whatever, you know. And that way, if I place it like, I don't know if you can see, let me try and move the whole thing here so you can see better. So I do like this, I do this, and then I place the vase or the jar in this little sleigh. And then if I place it like this, it cannot roll anymore because it's got these edges that are rolled up and they hold it. So that's why I have both thick and thin aluminum foil. And for this kind of fan-like support, I would use the hard aluminum foil, the thick aluminum foil, like folded in 2 or 3, and then covered with paper. And you can actually use regular printing paper for this. It folds better than the paper towel. But yeah, now I guess I'm gonna be busy making some leaf. I don't know, I might actually make a leaf necklace, not earrings. You know, because you can make these as beads. very easily. And you just place them. Another thing, they look beautiful as beads if you put them on just a little short piece of chain. They kind of move more freely than if you connect them directly with the jump ring to the chain. And another idea where they look very beautiful, so first cut like 2 or 3 slices the same dimension, okay? Then reduce the cane about 2/3. Then cut 2 more slices, then reduce it again until you have you can cut like 4 or 5 leaves that would be about this long. And then you get a piece of chain and you make it in a Y, and then you start connecting, and the bottom ones connect them with other pieces of chain, and then shorter the chain as you go with shorter leaves, all the way to the top where you pretty much connect 2 or 3 of the smaller leaves to the same chain link. Does that make sense? Do you want me to draw it? Because I can draw it to explain what I'm trying to say. But usually if you do that with teardrop shaped beads, you can make it with flower petals or with any kind of beads, but the best goes with beads that have patterns like this, or with beads that have you can make a combination of Skinner blends colors, and you can use them as flower petals or as just teardrop shaped beads. And don't place them like this, it doesn't look good. Place them like this, and always make them a little bit, don't let them be straight, you know, just curve them a little bit when you're baking them, and that way it will make a fairly and of course you don't have to put them all on one. You can make the same design on a regular, just remember to kind of make them cover up each other, and that way it will get. And you can do another thing to give it even more a spectacular thing, like if I would make a necklace like that out of these, I would place, the biggest one, I would place it at the bottom. Then I would make 2 regular leaves, maybe even using a mold, that I would use, for example, a combination of mica powder, the duo yellow green, and the bronze. And I would put them higher than this, but kind of like covering this one like here. And then I would put 2 more of these shorter, smaller, and then even smaller mica powder metal looking like leaves. You know, I would make a combination, and I would even make put some black ones, just teardrop shaped. Oh yeah, that works great with feathers too, Tina. I would like to see that, Deborah. Why don't you send me a photo? So I guess I don't know when, because tomorrow definitely I will not have time, but I will finish this in a kind of necklace so I can show you how. Maybe I'll make a tutorial out of it. Probably you'll like that better than anything, wouldn't you? I guess I should make a tutorial out of it. Yeah, okay, I'm going to start going and check in my patio furniture outside and see if I don't have anything that can fly down the street. And I hope you liked this. And you experiment even with thinner layers and see how that works. Thank you, Dorothy. But yeah, I will make a tutorial to show you how to make the layered teardrop type necklace. Okay, and I hope you have a good weekend, what's left of Saturday, and a good Sunday. And wish me luck with the storms and with Connor. I will keep you updated. I will post updates about Connor on the page and maybe even take another video. But I was looking at the video I posted yesterday. He really looks more than sleepy. If you have seen that video I posted on the Facebook page, he really looks more than sleepy. He looks like he's not feeling good. That's otherwise I cannot say it. He looks like he's not feeling good. So I will post updates about it, how the whole thing develops. Okay, so have a great weekend, and I'll see you next Sunday. This time I will not switch it around because there's nothing to celebrate. So I'll still see you Sunday as usual. Okay, have a great weekend. And thank you for being here. Merci pour être ici, Sylvie. Bye.